Good evening and welcome to Plain Talk. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. I'll be discussing with Dr. Joseph Haynes issues of health and wellness. Dr. Haynes, let me welcome you to Plain Talk. It's been a long time since you've been on the program.
Long time, many years.
Indeed.
Thank you and good night.
Now, you practice natural medicine. What do you call it?
It's actually called naturopathy.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means, it's not an MD, it's an ND.
Mm-hmm.
ND degree, Doctor of Naturopathy or Natural Sciences.
Mm-hmm.
And what we go through in the field as a true naturopath, you would do both sides of medicine, traditional and conventional.
Yes.
But you in the end specialize in the natural side of medicines, including pretty much all of the modalities.
Is it sometimes called alternative medicine?
Yeah, they call it also alternative, conventional, traditional.
Well, conventional is the
MD type.
MD, yes.
And this traditional is basically the natural side or natural side of medicine. But in actuality, naturopathy is the older type of medicine.
In fact, it's probably the conventional one. Yes.
Initially,
that's what it was.
Yeah, yeah. And then all sorts of things happen between then and now with synthesizing medicines and all sorts of things. But it doesn't go away. It is still there.
But is it? Which is regarded now as conventional medicine? It's not naturopathy, is it?
No.
That's regarded as alternative.
Alternative or traditional.
Yes. Now, tell the viewers what in fact is the difference, the essential differences between the conventional and the traditional medicine.
Well, the average citizen would want to believe or to understand that if you go into a doctor, per se, you go into a doctor, you think the conventional doctor, the
yes.
guy who is in the
takes
hospital.
A stethoscope and
well, we wear stethoscopes too, but we don't really wear them. We have them. But the average doctor would have one around his neck and he'd be in a little gong and all. I mean, we wear them too, but I don't really wear it. And the bedside doctor is the guy who is the conventional doctor, basically.
mm-hmm.
The difference between the two is that we practice their medicine. We learn their medicine. They don't learn ours.
Mm-hmm.
The true ND learns the conventional medicine. We actually, it's like an engineer. You come down a certain stream and then you branch off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the decision has to be made in your mind based on what you like. If you want to go down the side of conventional or you want to go down the side of traditional. I choose the side of traditional because I didn't want to use drugs.
Yes.
I had my experience, my own physical health experience, and I decided that as a matter of fact, I was instructed by a conventional doctor to study traditional medicine. Right after I came out of, I was at Amway at the time. I had my health problem, and when I overcame it, he instructed me. He didn't suggest it. He instructed me to go and study it because of what I did.
But the question we're trying to get for the viewers to understand, what's the essential distinction between the two?
And I'm trying to explain it. You have to make a decision about what you want in your health, with your health in your life. Do you want drugs or do you want natural medicines?
Mm-hmm.
Natural medicines, even though they may have some effects, most of the effects are positive effects, versus the conventional medicines have most negative effects.
Yes.
The effects of the drugs there are so many things, the side effects then are so vast in the conventional medicine that persons and the average doctor in his mind would know, if he wants to be honest, that there are more side effects in the drug than there is in the healing. of which healing happens in our bodies.
Is that correct? I mean, if you're ill, and I don't want to go to in areas like open heart surgery or even surgery. I'm not sure how you can say that conventional medicine, in fact, has a negative effect.
There is, it is known.
If your arm is broken and you go and you get it surgically fixed. What's wrong with that?
No, that is not the point I'm trying to make.
And how could naturopathy deal with that?
Oh, we deal with that too.
How? No
A
surgery?
true naturopath can, if depending on the level of the fracture,
Yes.
can administer. And as a matter of fact, many times when limbs are broken, it is not necessarily requiring a surgical procedure. It is basically a fixation where you put it back together, and then you would support it, give it support. Because the other thing that we have to remember here is that the body has to heal itself. I don't care what drug you put.
But the body needs help as well.
The body needs help. And this is not to say that there is no need for conventional drugs or conventional practices. There is a great need for both of the practices. Because when we consider the level of injuries or conditions, and then you think of the effects, many times people suffer more from the effects of drugs than from the benefits of it. Not to say that it's not good. There are times when you need the conventional drugs to maybe stem something until the body kicks in to begin to heal itself. You need it at times.
Which, give me a couple types. We're not talking about steroids now, though you might want to mention steroids.
No.
Which of the drugs you're telling me have as many negative effects as positive effects?
Even a simple aspirin, Tylenol,
Mm-hmm.
all of them have. If you look at diclofenac,
Yes.
diclofenac, even though it's a drug that has its benefits, has more normal body effects on your digestive system. For instance, it will tear up your stomach. Even though it has its benefits, we would ease the pain.
But if that is so, then America, as you know, where you've trained and you've lived,
Yeah.
people are on drugs all the time.
Yeah.
And their stomachs aren't torn up.
You
They're not dying.
No, don't believe that.
Their average lifespan keeps going up.
Don't believe that.
No, that's a fact.
No.
The average life. No, you can't argue against that. The average lifespan is going up.
What I'm saying to you is that it doesn't mean that they don't have problems.
Yes.
They have the problems because of the effects of the drugs, which are also there's medicine that's administered to sometimes ward off the effects.
Well, you've taken the natural path.
I use both of them actually.
Yeah. But you
But I
have a
chose the
preference.
natural path. Yes.
So you probably have some bias.
No,
we all do have
not
we all have
really.
biases.
No, I agree, but I don't. When it comes to the patient and the person's health, I look at what is in the best interest of the person.
Are you suggesting that alternative medicine and being administered to patients does not have negative effects as well?
I'm not suggesting that. What I'm saying is that the negative effects are a lot less. The disparity is greater on the side of the conventional drugs than it is on the traditional drugs.
How do you measure that? How do you arrive at your conclusion?
There's studies that are done, and I've got a whole lot of them. I could present them at some point. We can look at some of them. I've got comparative analysis. I have it, where you would look at what one drug does, and I do it in my program. I go over them on my program. I've done it over and over, where you would talk about the effects of one drug versus another, and how it interferes with the healing process and all of that sort of thing. I've done that over and over in my program. So it is not strange to the average person who listens to my program that I'm talking this way, because I have the evidence, and the physicians and the pharmacists also know that this is true.
But the conventional practitioners will tell you they have the evidence as well.
Well, they have. If I'm sure they will have evidence, but the evidence, if they were to compare it, we're talking about comparative analysis here. If they were compare the two, the effects on the person's body using traditional medicine is a lot less than it is using conventional drugs.
Is it because the natural remedy is also less effective, that therefore it has less negative as well?
That is
It may be just neutral.
not really. What happens to natural medicines is that it takes longer to take an effect on the person, and this is where the two branches of medicines need to, and it's happening in many parts of the world, need to come together and say, look, in the best interest of the patient and the condition and the age and the existing conditions that the patient has, this is the better format to take. We go with the medication that is going to ease the pain while we work with the medicines that can help to correct the body in a better manner without having the negative effects. It happens.
I have no bias in this, except I guess societal and one's upbringing and environment. Are you suggesting to me that the training that a conventional medical doctor goes through, the internship, the practice under the specialist, do you have that kind of 7 years training, an internship that in natural medicine that
You do.
that the convention?
You do, but it might not be as long because of the specialities and so. But you do. I had to go through all of that.
Well, how many years did you?
It took me. I started in 1985, and I finished in 1992.
Mm-hmm. That could be 8 years then.
Yeah, it was almost 8 years.
No, but just now you said it. Okay, but is that standard, or was
It depends.
your training longer than normal?
My training was long because I also had to include nutrition as part of my training. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist, and nutrition had to be part of what I had to go through. I had to do that. I tried to avoid it because you know the average physician in the medical field does not do the length or the depth of nutrition. They don't have that training. It is what I think it's maybe
But
12 hours.
there's a special branch of medicine or a special branch of training that deals with nutrition. That's not the same as the conventional,
No,
medical doctor.
the conventional medical doctor needs to do nutrition, in my opinion.
No,
They-
that's
they
my
need to.
that's a personal opinion.
Not just no. I think nutrition plays a very key role.
It's a specialization, though, isn't it?
I think
To be a nutritionist?
there is a no. Well, you have to be specially trained, of course.
Yes.
But I think that the doctor, the average physician, should have an amount of nutritional training in his modality that enables him to make decisions for a patient nutritionally.
But
a nutritionist is not always on scene. On site.
Are you suggesting that they don't do any
They
nutrition
do,
training?
but very little. Very little. Not even a semester. Very little.
So-
We might went through that.
Okay, and how much does one who do the natural medicine? How much training in nutrition?
The average,
Good, yeah.
the average naturopath, the true naturopath, will have to do the entire nutritional program. Entire
Well, meaning
program.
what?
At least 2.5 to 3 years.
Good. So if they do 2.5 to 3 years, they do a shorter program than the conventional medical doctor. It means they do less of other things.
Yes.
must mean.
Yes. Yes.
And the conventional medical doctor does more of other things.
I would not dispute that, depending on his specialty.
No, but we're talking about the normal, just to get the MD and the ND, as you said, the natural doctor.
If you were to really do the MD program in its true sense, straight, it wouldn't take that long. It doesn't take that long.
No, but it does take that long.
It takes that long because of factors. you may want to go to become a surgeon.
No, but that's a separate
It's a
that's
specialty.
after you get your MBBS. You go to the
Your MD.
yes.
Yeah, you
You-
begin to.
That's a specialization. That's post basic qualification training.
Yeah, yeah. How long does a when we have our students go to Cuba?
Mm-hmm.
How long do they take? Do you know?
I think they take 6 years.
Good. You know, part of that 6 years is learning a language.
Whilst
They have to learn the language, and that takes, I think, I don't know if it's 6 months to a year. They have to learn the language because they're taught in the language.
yes.
The average program, the average MD program will take about 4 years.
No. But you've isolated Cuba. We're talking if you were to do it in any Western country, the country that you served, the United States of America.
I went through the program. And
It is not 4 years.
You know what? Much of what you do in that, it's not 4 years because, you know, you do a bachelor's, and then you would take your MCAT,
Mm-hmm.
and once you get your MCAT done, then you would go. My son is going through that right now. One of my sons, he's going through that right now. He's right now interviewing in Virginia to
No.
enter medical college.
Now, we can get lots of healthy and unhealthy discussions as to which is better, and which one gets more training and how deep and how wide and how broad. You said that alternative medicine accepts conventional medicine.
Yes.
Is the reverse true?
No. In many instances, no.
And why not?
I honestly believe it's a situation where I don't really want to get too deep into that, but I think we are lost in many instances as
When
to
you
what
say
is
we are lost,
particularly here. If you want to look at countries abroad, many of the countries abroad are now the physicians that are MDs are cross training. The reason why they're cross training is because the same thing we're discussing. They have realized that number one, the side effects are great.
but I thought you said just now that you in the natural field acknowledges and accepts conventional medicine.
Yes, I do.
But the opposite is not true.
It is not true in most.
So how
in
come you're
most
telling me
instances.
that the conventional doctors are now
Course,
going?
well, I'm going to answer your question because if we were to look at countries now that are developed countries,
Mhm.
many of the physicians that are MDs are cross training, not because they feel that there's something that's happening that they need to get involved with. They're cross training because they've realized that there's a high level of connectivity using both sides of medicine to help the person to overcome their conditions. They've realized that in many parts
But
of
you
the
are saying formally it's not.
world.
They do not.
No, it is
recommend.
not. It is not. It is now.
So why the body doesn't, but individuals do? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, in most instances. Yes. We have doctors here right now in Guyana who embraces traditional medicine, but are not going to practice it because of whatever the society of medicine.
Well, how then do you say they embrace it? How do they embrace
They
it?
embrace it because
how
they
how
understand.
is this embrace manifest?
They embrace it because they understand and they've experienced what happens to patients. And they've realized that maybe over time or trials or experience that it is important to look at nutritional side of healing because it's a factor, it's very important. And if you look at nutrition, that is not what the MD wants to do. Most MDs don't even think about nutrition as part of a process that needs to occur in a patient to bring about good healing. There are some physicians who acknowledge it and who realizes that, look, you know what? If you don't have a healthy body, you can't heal. You need to eat properly. You need to eat. And this is happening here more and more, where the physicians are being taught or being shown or realizing that it is important to embrace nutrition as part of the process of healing, and that is if you want to look at conventional tradition. Nutrition is not really conventional.
Let me ask you a specific question, perhaps. You're going into malaria, suspected malaria infested area.
Yeah.
Conventional medicine will tell you, look, you need to take a shot or a series. How does your traditional medicine deal with that?
We have medicines that are specific to malaria, that is tested and proven. There's a particular naturopathy type of medicine called Rostux, which you probably wouldn't be familiar. It's homeopathic. There's another one called Quasia.
But how
which combats
how widely accepted is it, and what is the clinical evidence
it's there
that it has the same potency and effectiveness?
It's there.
No, where is it?
Don't have it. It's been proven and tested. I just didn't, I can gather all that information and we can come back and I can have it in your hands. It's there.
No, to say
There's a simple herbal bark that's called Quasia, which is known to combat malaria. Quasia.
Again, you say which is known. Where is the clinical evidence?
Clinical evidence.
As you know, Dr. Haynes, these things have to be tested.
No, listen.
Over several years.
I am not in dispute of any of that, because there are persons who uses, you say bush medicine, and most people think I'm a herbalist because they see me as they normally say go to the herbalist. I was never a herbalist. Herbology is part of the modality of naturopathy. We have to learn that too. But then it's just like when you go to the conventional type of medicine, there are specialities. There are also specialities in naturopathy. There is the herbalist.
So what's your position? What's your view? And what is alternative medicine's view of herbology? Is it?
Yeah, it is herbology. Herbology.
Is it regarded as a precise and accepted science?
Herbology has always been accepted as a science. It is actually the first mode of medicine that has been utilized, and Guyanese practice herbology all the time. In many parts of the world, herbology is practiced. For instance, we get into teas, all sorts of teas people get into. Okay, we might call it bush tea. We may look at sweet broom and say it's bush tea. We may look at lemongrass, all those things are bush tea. But you know what? Those teas are packaged. Maybe they may come back under a different name and they're sold to us. And we don't call them bush tea. We say herbal teas. But here we will say bush tea because we pick it in the backyard or we pick it in the back dam or something. And somebody comes here, harvests all of it, takes it out, processes, put it in a box and comes back as herbal teas.
You and I have been on television together, and I think I have asked you this question, and that would have been many years ago. Conventional medical practitioners operate under a system of rigorous regulation.
In many parts
the
of the
medical
world.
I'm talking about Guyana. What regulatory framework is there for the alternative medical practitioners and the herbologists?
There is an association that exists. It's called GAM. Guyana Association of Alternative Medical Practitioners. It exists. The problem that we have with GAM is not that it doesn't function, is that it is difficult to enforce much of what needs to be enforced because we don't have the structure in place.
What kind of structure?
The structure that we talk about that's rigorous in the conventional side of
yes, you
medicine.
have a medical council and
Right.
it's administered
Right.
on the law.
Right, on the law.
Is that the same thing with alternative medicine?
It has been for several years now. um, it has been placed in the hands of the politicians ever since I can remember Dr. Segala. Dr. Segala, I was there as part of the council with Dr. Segala.
That was when he was chief medical officer.
Yes, where the regulations were taken to him, and even our Gail Teixeira, Dr. Ramsamy, they all were consulted and all had packages which were delivered to them, and I have a package at home from the council. It was taken to Parliament and still has not been tabled in Parliament. And I think it was tabled, but it was partially dealt with.
Well, it's not law.
It hasn't been law. It hasn't been made law. It
doesn't have the same status.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Alternative medicine does not have the same status.
It does not. And I don't know really what the hang-up is, because in many parts of the world, it's law. It's practice. It's embraced.
So if there's no law regulating alternative medicine, are you saying it is unregulated? Can anyone go and say, look, I'm a naturologist or I'm a herbologist?
They can, and it's happening.
But that's dangerous, isn't it?
It is very dangerous. We have people who are doing all sorts of things. We got people who are washing people's feet and saying that it's going to get rid of all these things, and that's not true. Putting the foot in something with water and saying that it's going to take care of all of your ailments, and we end up having them in hospitals and having to go to other practitioners to take care of their needs, and it's not legal. We have people who are boiling things and putting it in bottles and saying this is good for this and that, and people are taking it, and we know it's not legal. But it's not going to become legal until it can be embraced and it can be dealt with at the level which it needs to be dealt with.
Apart from your being a naturologist, you're also a civil society activist. Why aren't you raising your voice, and why are your colleagues not raising their collective voices against that kind of improper practice?
It's not that we're not doing it. You cannot do it alone. You can't. You have to.
But you have to sell the idea before others.
It has been sold. It has been sold. Like I said, I mentioned names, and it was
no. You mentioned a few politicians.
I mentioned.
What about the people? Well, people need to know. This is a public interest matter.
I mentioned those names because those were the names that we had to start with. Those were the people who were in a position that you first had to meet, and then from those persons, we deal with order. They would take it, and it already went to Parliament. It went to Parliament. What happened? Only God knows.
Do these people do a discredit to alternative medicine?
Of course, because I think, and most people are there who have been helped and who believe in alternative medicines are at the point where they're saying, look, when I get my when I come to you, I don't get back my NIS benefits. I don't do this. I don't do that. But I'm being helped. We have persons who come to us from all places, including NIS, that benefit from the practice but cannot get their refunds because there is no law that embraces that. It says, okay, if you go to this or that physician, these are the ones that are qualified for you to go to, whatever, just like we have in the medical council. It needs to happen because there is no honest person out there, no honest physician out there who can say that traditional medicine does not have a place in society. Not if he's honest.
But if you're honest as well, you would not say that conventional medicine does not have a place.
I would not say that. I cannot say that. Because it does have a place in society. Then, like I said, they need to come. They need to work together. There are many instances where a person, it's been suggested that one procedure be done, and when they decide to take another route, they done that, and they got the results and didn't have to go that route. Many persons in society can attest to that fact. Not that it is always the best thing to do, but some people are afraid of going under the knife. Some people are afraid of going under anesthesia, and they try to find additional ways or other ways that they can somehow overcome their problems without having to go through what they feel is a fearful situation.
We hear of lots of persons, some of the religious leaders, you hear of a very prominent Steve Jobs, who felt natural medicine could have solved his problems. And when he turned to conventional medicine, it was too late.
It probably would have been too late anyhow. Some persons seek out to get help when conditions are far gone, and it happens a
No.
lot.
In his case, he was using natural medicine. That's the evidence out there.
Yeah, but we don't know where he went, who he saw.
Well, I mean,
If he did it on his own, we don't know.
Steve Jobs.
He could have gone anywhere.
Steve Jobs is a billionaire. Yes, he could have
gone anywhere.
And you say he could have gone anywhere. You mean positively?
Yeah, anywhere.
He could go to the best.
Yeah, he could have gone.
He
to the
was in
best.
California. California is fantastic when it comes to alternative medicine.
Yes, that's a fact.
So he had access to the best.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just saying that maybe when he sought the help, his condition was far gone.
But it is because that's one way of saying it, and that's obvious. But isn't it possible that traditional medicine failed him?
I wouldn't say it failed him. I can't say that because I don't know really at what stage he sought help. You know, many times, for instance, men. I'm going to say this openly. Men in our society and in many societies don't like the doctors. They don't go to doctors. They believe that if something happens to them, they can take this or take that and they'll be okay. Many of us take things for granted. And we may see something that is really happening to us as a small thing. It happened the other day. My friend called me when I was at the airport leaving, and this is just the other day. They said he had a pain in his tummy. Doc, I got a pain in my stomach. Okay? And I'm listening to him and he's telling me, and I'm saying this because it's a fact. And when he described where the pain was, because I grilled him to find out really what is happening with him, I said to him, you know something? That pain that you're having doesn't sound like wind, which you're saying it is. He's saying it was gas.
Mm-hmm.
I said to him, it doesn't sound like it's wind. It sounds to me as though you have a blockage somewhere. He said, no, it can't be. When I take garlic tea, I pass wind and I belch and it goes away. I said, you may think it goes away. But then when you finish that, how long does it take to come back? Not too long after.
Mm-hmm.
I said, it sounds to me like something beyond wind. You need to get it checked.
Mm-hmm.
Go and get yourself checked. Then I got called to board the plane. You know what? I got a call from his friend we have mutual friends, said that he was in hospital with a heart attack. When I got to the States, then I got to Canada, because it's Canada event, I got the call from him that he was in the hospital with a heart attack. You see? And this is the thing that happens to men.
What are you suggesting that men don't like? That's all you're saying?
Men have a way of believing that something that might be serious is something that is not. We have that problem. Women would more look into their health for if something swells somewhere, they go to the doctor. If a man get the same swelling, he can rub it and put something on it and believe that he's okay. We have a problem. Men have a natural problem dealing with the doctor, and it's a fact. You go to any doctor's office, you see more women there than men, because men are too egotistical, and I'm one and you're one. We believe that we, you know.
You know, you're making some very broad
I
statements.
am, because I experience it all the time with men. I'm telling you, this is not an isolated case.
No, but you cater for a small percentage of persons.
Not really.
You can't tell me.
Not
Dr.
really.
You can't tell me, Dr. Haynes, that as many people go to seek out help from alternative medical practitioners as they do conventional medical
I'm
practitioners.
talking about over years. I'm doing this since 1992.
Yes.
And it's the same pattern. This is 2017.
But it's not the same level.
It's the same pattern. I don't
No,
care.
no.
Listen, I'm not looking at...
First of all, you don't have as many NDs as you have MDs.
No, you don't.
Good.
You don't.
You don't have many NDs hospitals.
We don't have any.
Any, exactly.
Nothing can
So you
happen.
can't have as many people going to
We don't have
natural
as
medicine.
many, but we have a lot. And when you look at the numbers, if you go in any waiting room at any hospital or any doctor's office, and you look in there, you're going to see more women sitting there than men.
Mm-hmm.
Not that men don't have a problem. Men do have problems, but men chose to try to deal with their issues on their own. And it's a bad thing. Normally when the man goes to the doctor, it's kind of late. The average man, when he goes to the physician, it's kind of late. The condition has already gone far because he can't handle it anymore.
What's your evidence for that? That's a very strong. I mean, otherwise, men should be dying at 40 and 50.
I wish you
but
had
they're
a
not.
life. I wish you had no. Men are dying faster and they're dying younger.
That's not true.
Today, here,
That's not true.
you don't look at that announcement.
No.
You don't look at that announcement on the television
They,
and the radio.
no, their life expectancy
Life expectancy
is going up. It's going
Life
up.
expectancy.
It's going up.
But men are dying at a younger age.
No, we know that the life expectancy for men is shorter than for women. We know that.
Yeah. Why is that?
Now, I want to turn to this question of diet.
I want you to ask my question. You asking me all the questions.
Which-
You said men, the life expectancy is shorter than women. Why is that? Why do you think that is so?
I know it has been a historical fact.
Why do you
It's
think that
always
is
been
so?
a case. There's always been a gap.
But why do you think that is so?
I don't know.
Because the women look after themselves more than the men
You think
do.
they go to hospitals more?
Of course they do. They go to doctors more often and more. If you had a calling program, they'd probably tear up your head. If a pin sticks a woman and she realizes something is wrong, she gone to the doctor. If the man stick get the same pin, he can squeeze it and put the plaster and everything. Women don't play with their health. Men take chances more than women do when it comes to their health. And you know that for a fact.
No, I don't. Vegetarian diet.
Okay.
There's a growing trend, whether it's a fad, of persons moving towards vegetarianism. What's your view on somebody pursuing a lifestyle that is essentially vegetarian?
I think in today's world, there are more options for vegetarian than there were years gone back. The average vegetarian, the average person who goes into the vegetarian diet or line now can find more options. There are more options available to obtain the nutrients that they need if they were to switch into the vegetarian world than in the conventional world. In the conventional world, it is said that you could only get certain things when you use certain types of foods. Today, you can get those same things without using those type of foods.
I am not sure you're right. B12 you can't get. There's no known vegetable from which you get vitamin B12. None.
All right,
I mean, there are not many, but that certainly is one.
but it's available. It's happening now. You can get it now. You can
From
also
what?
get from natural sources. You can
No,
get.
that's not true.
We have in our pharmacy natural products with B12, natural B12. We have
No.
we have soy milk, for instance, soy milk, powdered soy milk. We have today with all of the aminos inside. We have
But-
it with the proteins that even a baby
But
can use it.
we're going to get back because there are certain things where there are deficiencies. There's no
You
question.
may not be able to get the same amount as you would consuming an animal product, but you can get it.
But Dr. Haynes, calcium, the chances of being deficient, omega, iron, zinc, B12. Those are in fairly short supply
All
with
of
the
those,
vegetarian
all
with
of
the
those,
vegetarian diet.
all of those that you call are available in supplements naturally.
In supplements, that's what we're
Yes.
saying, but we're saying the natural vegetarian diet. And before let's say, what does vegetarian mean? Because you've
It
got
depends different types. You have different
yes,
types.
good.
You
Tell us what they are.
you have the vegetarian. I'm going to be simple. You have the vegetarian who uses fish, which is not
As a
vegetarian.
pescatarian, I think they call, yes.
You have the vegetarian that uses eggs.
Yes,
You have the vegetarian that uses milk.
yes,
You have the vegetarian that uses none of those.
yes.
Okay, and you know, I mean, when I talk about vegetarianism, I am talking about the vegetarian that uses none of those.
So, I've heard people say they're vegetarian, but they eat chicken. I think they call them
The
vegetarian or something.
vegetarian chicken.
Yeah. No, they eat chicken, but you know, like how you got pescatarian where they eat fish.
Yeah.
You have vegetarians who eat milk, who drink
Cheese, milk,
eggs.
Yeah.
And you have, I don't know if you regard those as extreme.
We have vegan. The vegan type doesn't eat any of those.
They wouldn't eat any animal product.
No.
And then you can even go further, and you have the fruitarian.
Right. Exactly. And they live long too.
Well,
And they're not. If you look at them, you can't tell that they're deficient in anything.
Brother Yussi Koyana has
Right.
been
Exactly.
a fruitarian
Exactly. And
decades.
And where is he?
for
He's somewhere still functioning with all of his capabilities, as far as I know.
So, is it healthier to be a vegetarian, any one of those various stages, than to be
A carnivore.
a carnivore? That sounds so vulgar.
Listen, what is happening today in the world of flesh, and I use the word flesh because I don't want to say meat, because
But you don't want to say carcass.
I don't want to say carcass because that sounds kind of gruesome, right? What we have happening today in the world of animalism is that the animals are being fed all sorts of things. Okay, they're fed with chemicals that even the average animal that eats grass today eats grass that's chemically laden because of the spraying of all sorts of things, you know, to kill pests and whatever. So when they eat the grass, they're eating the chemicals too. So what is happening? And this is where we need an institution here in this country that can help with bringing about the right kind of changes that we need. Here is what's happening. We have persons who rear chicken, for instance, and they feed the chicken chemicals that make them grow and develop fast.
Yes.
Okay? Now, when you use that chicken, do you think the chemicals are dead in it? The chemicals are still alive and active in that flesh.
But if you're gonna say that, then vegetables, people use all kinds.
I'm getting to
of
that. I'm getting to that.
insecticides and
I am getting
pesticides.
to that because it is.
So you eat that as well.
It is a dangerous topic to deal with today because we have the vegetables, and I talk about it in my program all the time. You've got bananas that you can buy in the marketplace that looks ripe, and when you peel it, it is green on the inside. You've got vegetables that looks nice and fresh, and when you take it home and you put it down within 24 hours, it looks like nothing that you know, like it's got stuff running all over it.
So then what should you eat?
We got to start growing our own again.
No, that's in the
No.
modern world that can't happen.
It
You know
happens.
that.
No, it happens in the modern
No,
world.
listen.
It is happening in Guyana. There are many persons who are growing their
Not
own
the
today.
majority of people.
No, not the majority.
You can't do it. You
But-
have to go
but
to work.
we have to go there, Chris. We have to go there because we are destroying our society. We are creating more people that are sick in our society when we feed them the chemicals. Because, listen, if the nutritionist wants to be genuine and honest, You absorb those chemicals into your bloodstream, and those chemicals become part of your problem.
But how do you then account for the vast differences among carnivores, the vast differences among vegetarians,
Well,
the vast differences among vegans? They all are exposed to the same extent.
it is not an easy task today, like I said, because we have the greedy, not greedy, I should say, the hungry producer who wants to turn his money fast, that makes the things happen quicker by using chemicals.
That's part of the industry.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. That is a part of a person or a part of a sector that doesn't care about what happens to the human race.
Well, because you first of all have to prove that it is such a bad thing.
It is a bad thing. It
No,
is a bad thing because
in academic literature it might be, but the average person uses it and seems to be perfectly okay.
you think they're perfectly okay. You think they are.
So what?
Until something happens to them, and then they go to the physician, and the medicines are administered that is supposed to help them, and it doesn't work.
Now,
You know what I'm finding? I don't want to change the subject on that. Here's what I'm finding. Because of the device I have, that we can detect a lot of things, I am finding today that people are laden with chemicals. Not only chemicals, with metals, with mercury, with lead. I am finding that, and I'm showing it to them.
but you're making it sound like these people are bionic.
Well, they're living and they have problems, and they don't know what is wrong with them. And when you know what is strange? When we are able to help them to take those chemicals out of their system, they feel better.
Now, well, if you have been in lifelong in this, you've grown up accustomed to this thing 30, 40 years, it can't be that easy to take it out. If it's that easy to take it out, it couldn't be that bad in the first place.
You don't
Get
know.
it?
You don't know how it's taken out.
It doesn't matter how.
It matters.
Okay.
It matters how it's taken out.
No, but if it's
To the
that,
person,
if
to the
it's
person,
that bad,
to the person who is sick, when they're free of the chemicals and they feel better, it matters.
yeah, but no, if it's that bad, it can't be that easy to cure.
It can be.
Well, then it can't be that bad.
No, it's bad. It's bad when you don't know what to do to get rid of it.
So you need easy medicine for even bad.
It's not easy
illness.
medicine. It's not easy. You need direct
No,
medicines that target.
But we were talking about vegetarianism and some of the potential deficiencies. We know for one thing, for B12, it's on question.
Let me say this.
How
to
do you overcome the deficiencies?
You have to supplement. You have to. You have to supplement.
Like what? How do you do it?
You have to find the supplements that are designed naturally with the deficient nutrients inside.
Yes.
You have to find them, and we have a lot of fakes out there. Okay, now I want to go back to the same thing, the deficiencies. We've had, and I have had, many persons who are not vegetarians that consume whatever, that when they come on the screen, they're anemic. They're B12 deficient, they're iron deficient.
Yes. That doesn't mean that because you admit you're good with B12.
But they're eating everything.
No, but you have to eat a balanced diet.
They're
as
eating
well.
everything and they're eating balance. You look at them,
and
you don't
apart
think that
from,
they...
apart from that, and I hope we have a couple of minutes to talk about that, it is much more than diet in my view. It's lifestyle, it's exercise.
Yes, it is.
It's how you deal with alcohol, how do you deal with tobacco.
Don't even go there.
No, but
That's another night.
people have gone there.
That's a whole night subject you're talking about.
No, but people have gone. No, we talk about lifestyle.
Many persons are deficient. You're exactly right. They're deficient because they're using substances that takes away from their nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
It takes away. It takes away from the absorption of the nutrients that they're supposed to be absorbing, and they don't even know that. You see, they consume alcohol, like you say. They use a lot. They smoke cigarette. They use other things. They use other things, other drugs that robs the body of the absorption of nutrients. And this is where the nutritionist comes in again. How do you know what you need, and how do you know what you're not getting?
Well, I mean, it's fairly scientific now. What a healthy plate ought to
you
be.
go to Google.
What you should.
You Google it and you can see it.
Well,
Right?
ask Michelle Obama. She had refined it. But you talk about herbs just now. I had some folks on this program recently
Really?
on they call it herbs, marijuana. How, what
What's
is
my take on it?
known? What's known about in your profession that is good and that's bad about it?
Let me tell you something. I have a lot of respect for marijuana. I do. And I did a lot of research on
What does that
marijuana.
mean?
There are
That you think
persons-
is positive?
Yes, it is. Used incorrectly, it's very negative. But used correctly, it can make a difference in a lot of things.
In what way?
I've had, for instance, persons who get seizures.
Mm-hmm.
Persons
Yes.
who suffer with seizures. I know that for a
Epileptic,
fact. Yeah, that would have used in the right way, in the right dosage and so.
But that is something like a medication. What we talk about a normal daily routine use.
Persons use marijuana.
I'm asking you your profession's view on it.
I think that it needs to be controlled. It needs to be controlled, and persons need to be educated as to what it does when you smoke it, when you use it as a tincture, when you use it as a tea. You know, when you put it in food with seasoning, people put that in the food too, right? As a seasoning, they do that. Okay. Now, I think people need to know what happens to a person when they use it in whatever form it's used,
Mm-hmm.
so that they can be educated as to when I smoke it, here's what I expect to happen to me, or I think this may happen to me if I smoke it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I were to drink it as a tea, what will it do for my asthma? Because it helps with asthma. It relaxes the muscles.
Do you think the law on marijuana use is fair and positive? If you get
The
caught
law
with
here?
it? Yes, in Ghana.
I think there are persons who overdo it, indeed. It ends up in the hands of persons who misuse it, who are underage.
So what do
You
you
know?
think should happen? You think once you get caught with it, you should get 3 years in jail?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so because
What do you think should happen?
because if you're caught peddling it, then
Mhm.
the penalty should be stiffer than if you're caught using it for a purpose that you intend to use it for. I think they need to look at those areas. For instance, quickly, I want to just in a couple of seconds look at crime.
Mhm.
Okay, do you consider the robbery a petty crime or the rape a master? You're a lawyer. You know, a crime is a crime. If you commit a crime, you need to pay the penalty.
Well, a rape is an extreme form.
It's an extreme form of crime, but it's a crime. Okay, so
Yes.
we need to differentiate based on the level of crime and the level of use
Mhm.
how we will punish the person. I think it needs to be reviewed.
So you think for health reasons
Yes,
it should be permitted
it should be under control, in a controlled environment.
only for health? What about persons telling you, well, you know my religion says I must
I think if they're not peddling it and they're using it, then they shouldn't be punished. I feel that if they're using it and they're not marketing it and they're not encouraging others, then I mean, it's. I see it as petty.
Dr. Haynes, tell me something.
I don't use it, by the way. Never
That's
have.
fine. That's fine. Then you. Diet versus exercise. Which do you think is more important
I think they both
as
have.
a lifestyle?
I think they both have the level of importance. They go hand in hand. Without proper diet, you can't exercise. You don't have the energy to exercise.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't do the type of exercise you need to. So I think diet takes precedence over exercise, but they complement each other.
And your view on alcohol?
It depends. It depends on the type of alcohol. If you're going to take some wine, then I think it's for recreational purposes and for I think it's okay. When you're going to get into the hard stuff, the rum and the vodka and all that sort of thing, then it needs to be controlled. I think people need to understand that alcohol is a sort of a drug. It alters how you think, how you function, and there should be stiffer laws and penalties on that. Seriously, I believe that.
You think the government should be taxing alcohol more than it does at the moment?
I think they should because it is creating a lot of problems in society.
Does it create health costs?
It does. It damages the liver, damages the brain, damages the pancreas.
If that is the case, what's your position on tobacco then?
I think it's the same thing. It messes up your lungs. My father died from lung cancer. He used to smoke heavily.
So what would you consider? You're talking to the viewer. What would you consider a good lifestyle? Sum it up in 45 seconds.
You need to have balance.
Meaning what?
You need to eat controlled. Understand your conditions and eat according to your conditions. Exercise should be routine. You don't have to go to the gym to do it, but you should have that become part of your daily routine, at least 4 or 5 days a week.
Do you think the average low-income person with a salary of $2,500 per day, for example, can eat the kind of balanced diet and live the kind of responsible, healthy lifestyle that you would advocate?
No. Not if they have to pay rent and they have to pay transportation and all that, they can't do it.
What would it take?
Double that amount, at least. At least $5,000 per day. If they have to pay rent, they have to pay transportation, they have to eat, they have children, it's going to take more than that. They could not sustain themselves naturally and healthily on that sort of income. Not a family. Not anymore.
When I say not anymore, could it ever be done?
In the past, maybe, when the dollar had more value and you could have gotten more for your money, but not today.
Do you think, when you look at the national statistics, do you think as a people we're becoming healthier?
No.
Why not?
Because
I think this is the last question.
Because of the same factor. The cost of living has gone up so much that we can't afford to live the way we need to live.
Dr. Joseph Haynes, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Good
Chris.
night.
It was a pleasure being
Operators
here.
and viewers, thank you. Good night. See you
Thank you.
next week.